Hey guys, it's Sarah. Today's video is going to be a full face of all of my cheapest makeup products. So this was actually a request from a viewer. I've been getting so many great video requests from you guys lately, but her username is KZ, so I'm not sure what her name is, but she asked that I create my cheapest makeup look possible out of my collection and also to calculate out the cost of that look. So I went through my collection, I picked out a full face worth of products. I will go ahead and tell you the total is $83.96, which is actually a lot more than I thought this would turn out to be, but the main reason why it is that high is because of my brow product, my ABH brow pomade. That's the only brow filling in product that I have, so that brought the cost up a lot, but everything else is like under $5 mostly, well, $5 to $6. So I'm excited to get started and kind of see how good of a look I can come up with my cheapest makeup. You can probably guess a lot of this is going to be e.l.f. and Jordana. I have a lot of both of those brands in my collection, and those are some of the cheapest drugstore brands. So it's going to be a lot of that, but a couple other brands sprinkled in. So we'll start with my cheapest primer. This is from Jordana. It's their Prime No Pores Pore Fighting Face Primer. This I also used in my full face of my least favorite products video that I did a couple weeks ago. I can link that if you haven't seen it, but this, it's not a bad primer, it's just like my least favorite primer that I have, just because I feel like it doesn't really do a whole lot. It sort of just feels like a lotion. It sort of smooths out your skin and gives you just like a nice canvas for applying the rest of your makeup, so it's just, I don't feel like it's a necessity in my routine. So I think I'm actually going to do concealer before foundation just because I kind of like that with this particular concealer. But this is the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. It is the cheapest concealer I have at $6. Some places I think it's $5. I think the official price is $6. So this is also the fullest coverage concealer that I have. And it can look a little heavy, but I will say this is the only concealer I've ever tried that actually does live up to the full coverage claim. But the trade-off of that is, you know, it's gonna look pretty heavy if you're not careful, especially if you pile it on. This shade that I have is light peach, and it is a bit too light for me. That's another reason why I like to apply concealer before foundation when I'm using this concealer, because I feel like I'm able to make it look a little less stark and bright when I put my foundation on afterwards. So you can see that really did cover my under eyes. And I really don't think it looks bad. Like, I don't think it looks overly dry. As long as your eyes are well hydrated beforehand and you don't layer on too much, I think it looks pretty nice on the skin. I don't think it looks super dry. And that's coming from someone with somewhat dry skin, normal to dry. So the foundation is also from e.l.f. I don't like this foundation. It is their Flawless Satin Foundation. I've also seen it called their Flawless Finish Foundation, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. They're in the same packaging, so they must be, I don't know. I don't know why mine has a different name than everyone else's, but I have the shade Pearl in this. And I will say I've used this a couple times in recent weeks, and I do like it better than I did in the winter when my skin was really dry. My skin is definitely balancing out now, and it's definitely more on the normal side as opposed to the really dry side. And so I don't dislike this as much as I did when I first tried it in the winter. So that's good. I still don't love the way it sits on my skin and the way that it wears throughout the day. It's still not my favorite, but it's definitely not bad. And I'm also using the e.l.f. face sponge, which is a really good sponge. Somehow I feel like this shade blends out to be too light for my skin tone, which is odd because in the container it almost looks too dark for my skin tone, but the color that it comes out is almost too light, which is probably another reason why I don't love it. When a foundation is ever so slightly too light, or concealer, sometimes it just looks off. It can almost make it look more dry. And I made sure to only use one pump of this, which actually is a pretty small amount, because I do feel like the best way to make a foundation that you don't love look decent on your skin is to use less than you think you need. especially if it's one that tends to look kind of cakey on your skin. So there's that. It's not the worst foundation in the world by any means, but there are just others that I like better. I have been meaning to try this mixed in with a moisturizer. A lot of people have told me to do that. It helps. They say it really helps with the finish. So I've been meaning to try that. Still haven't, but I'm going to. I will definitely let you know how that goes. So for face powder, my cheapest powder is the e.l.f. Prime and Stay Finishing Powder. This is $3. And I have the shade Fair/Light. So it's basically like a translucent powder. I don't normally use this to set my under eyes, but I'm gonna try that today, just because that's kind of the challenge, right? Just doing a light layer of that. I definitely prefer a loose powder under my eyes. I just feel like it's easier to get like a very light dusting that way. Oh wait, I almost forgot. The highlight that I'm gonna use, my cheapest highlighter, is also from e.l.f. It's a liquid highlight though, so I'm gonna do this before I set the rest of my face. But this is the e.l.f. liquid highlighter. I think it only comes in one shade. I need to make sure to like shake this though, because sometimes it can come out separated. Just taking a little dab on my finger. And I think I'll just blend this out with my finger. This highlighter is very dewy without really being super shimmery or anything, and I really like it. Okay, then I'm just gonna set the rest of my face with this Prime and Stay powder, mainly just focusing on my T-zone and any areas where things tend to kind of break down. I had a cat hair in my eye and I got it out. There's nothing more satisfying than finally getting whatever is in your eye out of your eye. So for bronzer, this one actually was also in my full face of my least favorite products video, and actually the reason why I included this in that video was just because it was my least used bronzer. I didn't really have a least favorite bronzer. I feel like all bronzers are kind of the same to me, but maybe that's just because I haven't found like an amazing one. But this is the Jordana powder bronzer in Sunkissed bronze. I think this is like $3, so very, very low cost. And I've been using this actually a lot more ever since that video. And it's a nice bronzer. It's almost like red toned. It doesn't really look like it in the pan. It's definitely warm and it does have a glow to it, but I feel like the warmth is more of like a red tone than a orangey tone. And I kind of like that because it really does make you look sun-kissed. So yeah, that is a really nice bronzer. I like it. I haven't been able to find this shade anymore on their website. It looks like they only have one shade, so I don't know if they're discontinuing this or maybe they just need to restock it. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I really like that bronzer. So for blush, it was between my CoverGirl Cheekers blush in Natural Twinkle and my Wet n Wild Color Icon blush. I think the Wet n Wild one is technically like a few cents cheaper than this one, but I decided to go with this one and not use any of my Wet n Wild makeup in this video just because they're no longer cruelty free, and I kind of just wanted to focus on brands that I actually want to continue promoting. So that's why I chose this one. Also because I feel like I haven't shown this on my channel in a while, and I really do like this blush. This is kind of a really pretty dusty mauve blush. I used to not like this blush at all, and I love it now. It's one of those products that I really changed my mind about. It's especially beautiful for the winter, but really any time of year. Like, it just looks so healthy on my skin, just like the perfect flush of like sort of a cooler tone. I'm actually learning that I kind of like cooler tones on myself more so than warm tones, especially when it comes to blush. Sometimes I think that like really warm peachy blushes can be a little too like orangey on my skin tone. So I've always thought that I have like neutral undertones, which I think I do, because when you look at my veins, some of them are more like blue and some of them are more green, and then there's like purpley ones too. So I feel like that kind of means I've never really been able to pinpoint like whether I'm warm or cool. I feel like I have both warm and cool in my undertones. So that's why I've always kind of said that I'm neutral toned. But I'm starting to learn maybe I do lean a little bit cool toned, because lately I'm just liking cooler tones on myself. So does anybody know what I am? I can't really figure it out. So that's all the cheek products. It's actually such a pretty cheek look. I really like both of those, the bronzer and the blush. And that highlight is really pretty too. It can be, you have to be kind of careful with it because it's sort of a almost oily formula, which doesn't sound great, but that does make it really dewy. But the thing is, it can lift up your foundation if you like drag it across too much or like rub it in too much, so you have to just like lightly tap. But it is really pretty. So I only have one eye primer, and it's like a $12 one, so that also brought the cost up a little bit, but it's the Ulta Matte Eye Primer in Nude. It's a fine eye primer. I don't think it's like that great to where it's worth $12. Like I'd probably go for something a little cheaper next time, but it lasts forever. Like I've had this tube for over 2 years now. So the next step is gonna be brows, and I'm just gonna be using my Anastasia Dipbrow Pomade. I have the shade Taupe. I am one of those people that really only feel the need to have one brow product at a time. Or, well, one brow filling in product and one like brow gel. So this definitely brought the cost up, but this is such a good value because, I mean, I've been using the same pomade every day I've done my makeup since December, and it's now May, so 5 months, barely made a dent. And by this time with brow pencils, I probably would have already gone through like 3 brow pencils just because I just fly through brow pencils. So this is, even though it's a little more expensive up front, it's a really good value in the long run. And then the brow gel that I love is $4 from e.l.f. It's their Wow Brow Gel, and I have the shade Taupe in this as well. And that just gives my brows a little more fullness. It helps me kind of manipulate the shape a little bit, hold them in place, and also make them a little fluffier, which I sometimes really like the look of. So, okay, for eyeshadow, I'm so excited. I placed an order on e.l.f.'s website a few days ago, and my order actually came in today. I'm planning on actually filming like an e.l.f. haul just to share what I bought, because I feel like hauls can just be fun sometimes. But anyway, I picked up the shade Rosewater in their new bite-sized eyeshadow quads. These are $3 quads, which is so amazing, especially since e.l.f. in a lot of areas has been raising their prices a lot. I love that they kept this like true to their roots, you know? They always used to have everything be like $1 and $3. And so I've been lusting after this shade, Rosewater. I also have the shade Pumpkin Pie, but this color selection is right up my alley. I mean, you guys already know, I love rosy, dusty, mauve-y tones, and I can't wait to use this. This is the first time I'm using it. Jessica Braun has been raving about this particular shade, and I couldn't resist it any longer. So I'm gonna go in with this matte shade, which looks like the perfect, like, cool toned crease starter shade for me, with a fluffy brush. These quads, I have the shade Pumpkin Pie, and even though those shades aren't quite as me as these, the quality of that one is amazing. So I'm expecting the same out of this one. That is such a good crease color. It's just so, like, it blends with my skin tone so effortlessly. I'm gonna try to use all 4 shades, but I'm gonna start with this lighter shimmery pink shade. It looks so pretty. Just taking that on a flat brush. This is an e.l.f. brush also. That is pretty. Oh wow, yeah, that is so, like, it just looks wet almost, like just a dewy, reflective, light pink. Wow, that has so much dimension to it. It almost looks like a duochrome. What? Then I'm gonna take some of this slightly deeper shimmery pink color. It's more of a mauve, kind of just on the center of the lid. Wow, that's pretty too. Oh my gosh. I am kind of layering this over the other shade. Blend a little bit more. Then I'm going to take that darkest eggplant shade there and just put that in the outer corner. Okay, that is pigmented actually. I was expecting it to be kind of sheer. I will say in general, I'm not a fan of that type of color, that really dark like eggplant, just because usually it ends up just going on the eyes looking murky and dark. I might have preferred something a little more interesting than that color, but I think as far as just like deepening up the outer part of the lid, I think it, you know, it does its job. And honestly, it was more pigmented than I expected it to be. I'm just using that matte shade, the light matte shade, to blend everything out. You know, I actually am surprised with how much I do like that darker shade. It was a nice like outer corner shade. I feel like I need a little more on this side. How come after all these years of doing makeup, I still struggle to not get my eyeshadow like all the way out to my temples? You would think I would have learned by now, but I guess not. I'm just gonna clean that up with some powder. Try to anyway. And I'm just gonna use this e.l.f. Prime and Stay powder to clean it up and highlight my brow bone, sort of. And I didn't really get a whole lot of fallout there either with those shadows. And then I'm also going to just line my lower lash line lightly with that deepest shade as well. That is a seriously pigmented shade there. Alright, for eyeliner, I don't always use an eyeliner, but I figured I'd use one today because I know it's a step in a lot of people's routines. But my cheapest eyeliner is the Jordana 12-Hour Made to Last liquid eyeliner pencil in Black Point. This is like an old favorite, like a lot of people used to love these. I'm just gonna tightline with that. So, yeah, just a really basic black pencil liner, but it is nice and creamy and, you know, all those good things. For mascara, my cheapest mascara is $5. It's the e.l.f. Keep Your Curl Mascara. It's also my favorite mascara. I love this stuff. I've been talking about it nonstop for the last like 3 months. This mascara is just seriously so good. Like, I am continually amazed. So for the lips, I actually have 4 options. They're all the same price. They're all $4. I have the NYX Creamy Lipstick in Chaos, but this is like a bright blue toned red. I don't think that would go very well with this eye look, but I do really like that lipstick. It is very creamy. And then I have 3 e.l.f. options. I'm probably gonna use one of these. 2 of their matte lip colors. One is in Tea Rose and one of them is in Berry Sorbet. I think that either one of these would go really pretty with this eye look. And then I also have this new lipstick from e.l.f. This was actually a free gift with purchase. It's their moisturizing lipstick in Flirty and Fabulous, which looks like a really pretty bright pink. But I don't think that would go super well with this eye look, so I think I'll save this for another time. And I kind of want to go with Berry Sorbet. It's like a purpley berry. I haven't worn this in a long time. I think this would be a really fun, bright spring color, so let's do that. These are so nice and creamy yet matte. Okay, so I really do like this look overall. The only thing I don't like is the base. This e.l.f. foundation, I think what I have found is I do like it the most with a hydrating primer of some sort, and this really is not super hydrating. I did like it with my like CoverGirl Go Glow Luminizing Lotion. That was my favorite way that I've worn it so far, I think, so I'll probably stick to pairing this with primers that I know it works well with, but this pairing I didn't love. I feel like it just looks so flat on my skin. Like even before I set it with powder, it just looked very matte and dry, and when I look up close, it just doesn't look too good. And also, honestly, the concealer, I think that this liquid highlighter kind of lifted up some of that concealer and made it look sort of splotchy right in here. So I think I'd probably save this liquid highlighter for more light makeup days, like maybe if I'm just wearing a tinted moisturizer and a lighter coverage concealer, because I think with that really heavy concealer, it just looks bad. Like it sort of just lifted it up in certain areas, and then right here it just looks heavy. So probably not the best combo of base products, honestly, but everything else, I mean, the eye look I love. This honestly exceeded my expectations, especially this dark shade. I didn't think I was gonna like that shade, but I actually think it looks pretty on my eyes, and I really can't complain. Yeah, I was afraid it was just gonna look kind of gray, but it actually does look like a nice deep eggplant on my eyes, and it blended nicely, so I like this even more than I thought I would. And the lip, this e.l.f. Berry Sorbet lip color, I really need to wear this more often. This is such a fun color, and I feel like I haven't worn it in so long. So overall, I do really like the look, especially the eyes and like the blush and bronzer. That's all great. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it gave you some nice budget-friendly makeup options. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed it. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love to see you again very soon. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and sometimes a bonus video on Sunday. So hopefully I'll talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye.